making friends. My name is Joey Balestrieri. Welcome to my work table and welcome to my channel. It is a Saturday afternoon and I have literally just been playing with my beads and my supplies. I have recently been getting these beautiful bead boxes from the Czech Republic, and I had a few things left over from those, and I have some Czech beads. I have some things left over from my Potomac treasure boxes from the last couple of months, and I also have done a couple of orders with a company called Lima Beads, and I was just like playing with the things that I had. I am thinking about summer jewelry. So I'm going to start with the two little pairs of earrings that I designed with some beach glass. I've done one of each earring. So this is the first one. It has a little yellow beach style glass drop on it, and I have used a jump ring that I made and then a little piece of 20 gauge wire and just stacked this orange mermaid glass. It is so beautiful. I got a whole strand of this orange mermaid glass at the intergalactic bead show, and I have just used some Hishi beads from my stash and these gorgeous little gold, they're matte gold O-rings from the Czech Republic, and they were left over from my Craftica boxes that I did. And so that's going to be our first little pair of earrings. And if you'll notice, I did not put ear wires on my earrings because I have, let me just show you what they look like. I have some gold filled interchangeable ear wires, and I love, as I make my drops and as my bead boxes come in, I just love to just make my drops like this and thread them on. So I've actually bought a couple of extra pairs, and I just keep those in my jewelry wardrobe, and I can change my drops out. And I'm actually planning a little trip to Venice Beach, and it's so hot there, and I like to ride my bicycle and do yoga and things when I'm there, and a lot of times all I want is a pair of earrings. So I was kind of thinking of a couple of little earrings for that. So I've already done this component, and I'm going to show you how I did all of my components. Let me get my ingredients out for this earring. It is so simple. This is a simple connecting project. So I'm just going to take this. Actually, this is a gold filled jump ring. I have used in these projects some of the jump rings that I made with anti-tarnish coated 20 gauge wire, but I also love to keep a supply of gold filled jump rings, ear wires, spacer beads, that kind of thing when I'm going to gift a piece of jewelry, or if I'm making something that I want to wear for a long time. I use that. So I believe that's what this is. And if you notice that I am opening this really wide because there's a little bit of thickness to this little beach glass drop, and so it's a little tricky to kind of get it in, and you just twist it around like that. And you know, this is glass, so you don't want to put pressure on it. And then I am going to just add in this little component that I made and close that jump ring really well, and that earring is done. Now I did sit and make, since I had other components to make, I did sit and make those ahead of time, but this beautiful little pair of earrings is now done. And I found this, I love the beach glass section of the Lima Beads website, and I've ordered a few things. So this is my other little earring, and it is a little purple beach glass drop, another jump ring, and I have some little mermaid glass, Czech glass disc spacers, and another little, this one is a clear mermaid glass bead. And so again, I just open up my little interchangeable ear wires. They are really easy to take on and off, and I don't have to worry about how little rubber back, like when I'm traveling, or if I lean my head on the pillow in the car or anything like that. I don't have to worry about losing my earrings. I really love those. So that's my second little fast pair of vacation earrings, and I'm going to show you how I did my components. I used all three in these projects. This is 2 bracelet projects and 2 earring projects, if I forgot to mention it. And I have all 3 sizes of the 1-step looper. So they're completely out of order. I have the 1.5 millimeter 1-step looper, the 2.25 millimeter, and the 3 millimeter. I love this tool. It really saves my hand when I'm making a lot of components, but I also love it because all of my loops are completely consistent. So on this one, if you notice on this earring, the bottom loop, let me set those aside so that I can show you. The bottom loop on this component that I made is the 2.25 1-step looper, and then the top loop is the 1.5 millimeter. And so you just get a little customized look, and especially when I'm making earrings, I know that my second component is going to look exactly the same. So for those of you who have seen me use this, or you have this and you love it already, you can fast forward through this, but I'm going to go a little bit slow for this project. For new people, I'm noticing there's a lot of new people to making jewelry, and it excites me so much because jewelry art is just a really wonderful thing, just a really great way to be happy. So anyway, we're going to put the wire in, and just since there's no bead or anything on here, I'm just going to go past that back little jaw of the plier. I have it very gently closed, and this tool makes a clean cut on the wire, so you can skip that step with your wire cutters. It makes a nice little clean blunt cut. It wraps the wire around that mandrel inside, creating the loop. There is the nice, where it made a nice clean end for us, almost no waste. And then while I have the tool closed and in my hand, I'm just going to bend this wire so I can see that the loop it just made is centered on the wire. And if the wire needs any straightening or warming, you can also do that while it's in the tool. And when I take that away, I get this perfect little simple loop. Sometimes I have to go back and like tidy it up, but for me that's totally okay because I like to open and close my pliers on my simple loops just to work harden without putting it on the bench block, and it also makes it nice and there's nothing sharp there. So for me, I think that is wonderful. And I also just wanted to show you this. These are so cool. This is from one of my trips. When I go down to Venice Beach, there's a shop there called Bead Abode that I just love. I've done a video on that, and this was one of my little treasures from my last shopping trip. Isn't this gorgeous? These are kind of like a frosted mermaid glass. They're 6 millimeter, and they're just like a little disc spacer bead, and they just have so much going on in that tiny little piece of glass, and I just love it. So I use those. I just think they're so pretty. And then I threaded on one single little mermaid glass bead. It's clear, but it has that, I don't know if the camera is showing you, it has that pretty little finish. And let's see, do I have this? Nope, I have it backwards because I want my larger loop. Is that right? Yeah, I want my larger loop at the bottom, so I have to do it this way. That's what happens when you make earrings. It's really best to make them right away together and not like I tend to do a sample and then come back to share it with you guys, and then I've forgotten what I did on the first earring, but that was an easy fix. So this loop is going to be at the top, the 1.5 millimeter, and then I'm going to switch here to my 2.25, and both of these loops can be going, let's see, do I have both of them going the same way? Let me check my first earring. Yes, both of them are going the same way because I also used a jump ring on my little piece of beach glass. And I just like to alternate, so this loop is going to go down and the one-step looper always does the loop upward. So this time I will put the wire through the back of the tool, and I'm going to just gently close it, and I want to make sure that is a little bit too close. I want to back my glass beads off just a millimeter or so, and that went back a little bit too far. Let's try that. Okay, and then just close the tool slowly. It makes the cut and it's making that loop, and now I just want to pull my beads away from the jaw of the plier and close it all the way. And then I can come in and do whatever I need to do with my loop. And actually, since I'm using a jump ring, I don't need to open and close these simple loops again, so I'm just going to open and close my pliers gently and work harden them and get the jump ring. And again, these little beach glass drops had a little bit of thickness to them, and the hole is down a little bit from the top, so I found that I really needed to dramatically open my jump rings in order to get it on there. Don't want to put any stress on that beautiful little piece of lavender beach glass. And just wiggle it in there, and then put my little component that we just made, close that jump ring, and my second little summer pair of earrings is done and ready to go in my jewelry wardrobe. Aren't they so sweet? So simple, so elegant, beautiful, with bathing suits, bathing suit cover-up, shorts, t-shirts. I love how it has that so much movement, so much articulation for just a very few beads. So I am just thrilled with my little two little pairs of earrings, and I'm going to just set those aside, and we are going to move on to this beautiful bracelet. And before I do, let me show you what went into, these are the components for my little bracelet. And I had these left over from my Check Beads exclusive box that I get from Craftica. I've done a couple of videos on these, and I can link those below if you're interested. It is the most amazing box of beads. The Check Beads exclusive comes with about 26 different little items, all check glass, and they are just beautiful. And I was crazy about these tiny little gold O-rings, and also these little 2mm matte gold check drucks. So that's what went into my little components for the bracelet. And it just, like, I don't know, it adds so much personality and dimension. I just have these little shell Heishi beads from the craft store, and I created a little component with one of the little drucks and those little O-rings in between the Heishi beads, and look at that cool little component. So I have done 4 of those because I have 3 of these little glass sand dollar beads from Lima Beads, and I just thought they were so beautiful, and I just wanted a summer bracelet. So my plan is this. My plan is to put one of these little components, and I made these exactly the same way that I did the earrings, so that's why I made them in advance. But on this one, I used my 3mm looper, and the reason that I did that is because I really want my bracelet to have great fluidity, and I want it to be really like soft and movable as it goes around my wrist. And so I put a really large loop in here for that reason. I just want all of the links of this piece to be very easily movable. And then I have a little gold filled toggle sort of clasp. I got a set of these from Amazon with all different shapes, and I just love them. They're very high quality. And then I have 2 little diamond cut gold filled jump rings. So this one is going to go at the end of my clasp, and this little jump ring is going to be what I hook onto. So that will be the closure for the bracelet. And then my other jump rings, like you see here, I made them with a bail making plier, and they are really large, and they are out of a 20 gauge anti-tarnish, a coated wire. So this piece will have a lot of longevity for me. I'll be able to wear it, and this is a simple connecting project. So I'm just going to start in the middle here. This was my little tester to see, how my jump ring fit in there and how it moved, because again, there's a little bit of thickness to these sand dollar connectors. And so let me get my other plier, and we will just connect this together. And this will come together. It did not take me very long to make these components because I only had to make, 4 of them. And so it didn't take me very long, but it was just, it's just so joyful to play with your beads, create a pattern like I did here. I just played, I put things on, took things off until I was happy with the way that the little component looked, and then I just recreated it 4 times. So again, I had to open my jump rings fairly wide to get them through these little holes. Let me turn this way so you can see what I'm doing. And this is just connect, connect, connect. Just want to make sure that every jump ring is closed really well. I like to put my pliers on the inside and even touch it. Look at that. It's going to be so pretty. So I turned it so that these beads are all the same, but if you can see, like, there's 2 little grooves on this side. So I just alternated it and put this one over here, and I'm going to alternate this one the same way, back like that. Whoops. I was looking at my alternating my little shape of my sand dollar. Forgot my center component. This is such a sweet little bracelet and so easy. Any skill level can open and close a jump ring and create these very simple components. And I love my one-step loopers, but if you hate that tool, because I hear that people either love it or hate it, or if you just don't have it and you're making your simple loops with your pliers, that is totally fine. It really, whatever works for you. So if you want to make this project for yourself, like, this is completely beginner friendly, so easy to make. Like, this is super, super easy. It's just a little bracelet with segments, and I just think it is beautiful. And just, I love to wear like white linen and even beige linen in the summer. And I think the white sand dollar and then these shell he/she beads will just be so beautiful and just chic and elegant for the whole summer, for pretty much everything that I like to wear. I like those wide-legged pants. And I just think no matter how hot it is, I can always wear a bracelet. I love bracelets. Pretty much always have on a bracelet and a pair of earrings, no matter what. Even like for yoga class. I'm gonna make sure that ring is closed really well. And it looks like it is. And then this one on this end will be, that is so beautiful. It's larger, so it will hopefully be easy to put on. In love with that little summer design. So easy, quick and easy, really fun. And what is more elegant than gold and white and like the natural shell? Oh my goodness, I love that so much. So what you see over here is just some things that I pulled out. This is more of those little shell he/she beads. This is more of those little check glass little disc spacers. I have a tiara cast sand dollar button, and I just have a little bead mix that was left over, and even some charms that were left over from my Potomac treasure box from a couple months ago. I can't even remember. And I have 3 little check glass seashells, and they just match my bracelet so beautifully. And some little check glass, they kind of have an AB finish on them. I like that color. And another little strand of check glass. They looked a little bit like a natural element to me. And off to the side, I still have a little bit left of my check glass things here, and I'm going to be using my Champagne Soft Flex beading wire. This is a 19 strand beading wire, and it's medium, but it's because it's 19 strand, it's really fine, and it's about the closest to my golds and whites and, you know, kind of my like pale blue sky colors that I have going on here. And I am actually not sure what I'm going to do yet, but I was thinking a 2-strand bracelet, because I'm thinking that I can easily put 2 strands through here and loop it back into a number 2 crimp tube. So let's cut our beads open. I always find that if I sit and look at them on a strand, I'm never going to make anything, and the only way to start designing and coming up with your pattern is to unleash the beads. I do not even remember where this strand of check glass faceted rounds came from. It might have been Dollar Bead Club. I really don't remember. I'll link below in the description box anything that I'm using that I do know where I got it from. I am a big proponent of using what you have, and I get so many bead boxes, and I've been to a bead show in the last couple of months. I did a trip to South Florida and shopped and did a video at Bead Abode. It's the one where I saw the whale beach itself and then pass away, for those of you who did see it. And I've just done some bead shopping, and I like to use what I have. So that's what this is all about. So it's a little bit of a mix from all my boxes and all my different things. I'm going to cut 2 lengths of this beautiful champagne, and I need around a 7 to a 7 1/4 inch bracelet. This doesn't have really large beads, but there will be 2 strands if I decide to do 2 strands. I don't know why, but I really like single strand bracelets. Maybe because I really love to stack my bracelets. I'm not sure, but my intention is 2 strands, but that is subject to change. When I'm designing, and I did not do a sketch. I just really, like I said, it's a Saturday afternoon, and I was just kind of playing with leftover materials from bead boxes, and I got another organizer, so I was spending some time just organizing my beads and supplies, and I have another organizing video coming. I've had really fun, like, kind of getting myself set up, since I work with a few extra companies now. So I'm going to just set 1 strand aside and kind of think what I want to do here. I know I want to use these 3 seashells. I really love those, and I really like these. I actually love all of these. Let me put all of these out on the mat. These are really pretty. These little seed beads were also from our Potomac treasure box a couple of months ago, and I forget the color of these, but these are so pretty. They look like a cloudy sky above the beach to me, and so I put those here in case I wanted them for spacers. And I'm also going to go ahead and put the rest of my little small drucks out here, these beautiful little matte gold drucks. I was kind of thinking a summer set so that the pieces that I'm making could be worn separately or together. So I'm trying to pull in like the elements that I used here and put my, I don't want to make my mat too crowded, but I'll put my earrings here as well. So there's my 2 little pairs of earrings. I just love these. Oh my goodness, I cannot wait to wear those. They are so pretty and lightweight, but you know, I just love the movement, the dangle. So let's make a start here. I need a little bead stopper so I can play with my pattern. And what I was thinking is that maybe 1 strand might be these check glass beads, and maybe this strand would be a mix of these and the seashells, and maybe even put some he-she's out here. So for the end was like a smaller bead near the end. So let me start with one of those and a check glass, and let me try 3 he/she beads. These are so pretty. The holes, some of them are in the middle and some of them are a little bit off to the side. They're very organic and natural, but I kind of like that because they hang a little bit differently. You know, I don't know, they just, they're really pretty. I really like them. So I am actually going to play around with my pattern. I tend to think better when the camera is not rolling, and I just, you know, I'll come back before I do the next step and kind of share what I came up with. But for me, this is one of the most joyful things about making jewelry, is this pattern playing with beads that you know, I'll go and pull out things from my stash that I love and just like put them together and see what they look like. I even want to separate these he/she beads too. So I'm going to pause here and I'm going to play a little bit with my pattern, and then I will be back and we'll do the next step together. I really wanted some space in between my he/she beads, and I really love these gold O-rings. So I didn't have gold, but I had these little antique bronze from Potomac Beads in my stash, and so that's what I've used here in between these he/she beads. And I don't want to pick this up because I've kind of worked out the mechanics of this bracelet, and I'll show you. It's a little bit strange. The other thing that I did is I created 2 strands here. I did decide to do the 2-strand, and they are almost identical in length. And so on this end, I just made a little loop of the beads that are in the pieces, and I just tested my little tiara cast button goes through there. And what I did is I looped it back down through a number 2 crimp tube. These are the soft flex number 2 crimp tubes that are gold filled. And then on that wire that's looped, I strung this strand, and this one is just independent, and I've put it through the tube because this is only 19 strand beading wire, so you can even fit up to 4 wires through a number 2 crimp tube on this. And actually, if I'm only doing 2 wires of a 19 strand, I put a dummy wire to take up just empty space on the inside of the crimp tube, and you just get a better crimp bead when you're using the magical crimping plier, which is what I am going to be using. It's this plier. So this looks a little strange. These are the tails of, let me show you this one. This one here, I can pull it. It's the looped wire. And this one right here is this wire here. So I don't want to pull it out. I only have it clamped on this end. So what I'm going to do to start out with, I need both of these. I need my beads to be up near the crimp tube, just so I get a good sense of where to clamp down. And then on this end, what's going to happen is both of these are going to go through my button and loop back down into another crimp tube. So I'm going to start right here. I just want to make sure that I have no strange gaps in my loop. And so once you have it centered in this tool right in the well, you can, before you clamp down, you can actually like pull it tight, because you just want to really make sure when you're using tiny little check glass seed beads and little O-rings that you don't chomp down with this plier on them. But I'm pretty happy with that, and I'm just going to close this, and if you can see, I pinch the 4 corners of the crimp tube, and now being really careful not to crush any of my beads, I'm going to go in the opposite direction, and I just want to make sure I don't lose my stringing here, and close it that way. And now you just go around and around, opening, making sure you're still centered in that well, just opening and closing your plier until you just don't feel any resistance, until you feel it's just not doing anything at all, just opening and closing on air. And I got this perfect little crimp bead, and now I can trim away the 2 wire ends from the strand and from the loop. Be careful you don't cut your working wire. And so on this side, I'm going to let all my beads go down and remove my little bead bugs. And so on this side, just want to check my links, check my final links, make sure I don't need to remove anything. I try to put in a multi-strand bracelet, I try to put some smaller beads here at the end where the 2 strands come together, just so they're not competing for space. But then you also have to think this will go around your wrist like that. And oh, I set these aside because that's what I had left over. I had a few other things left over as well, so I think I'm going to redo some little charms for this, but I see earrings in my future. I'm excited about that. So let's see, I have a little bit of strange space there, but that is one of the reasons that I love the Soft Flex beading wire in all the beautiful colors that it comes in, because if I see a little bit of wire there, it doesn't bother me. It matches everything. And honestly, I think this is where I'm going to put I'm going to create some charms, put my jump ring and hang something there anyway. So I think I'm going to be okay with that. So I'm going to take another one of those little crimp tubes, and both wires have to go through this tube, and then my button, and then they have to go back down through that tube. So it's going to be a little bit to hold on to on this end, but I'm so excited with the design and the way that it turned out, and just these are just so beautiful, like beach colors to me. Sparkle, a little bit of sparkle with the AB finish, but just absolutely beautiful beachy colors. So I could also put some beads here for the button closure, but I think I'm going to try it this way. So before I do my actual crimp, I'll just pull everything into place and see how I feel about it. I shorted myself just a little bit of bead stringing wire on this one strand. Get my pliers to help me make the loop. But I need to pull it. Get a hold of my button. Okay, so I have all 4 wires back in that crimp tube, and I want to make sure that I don't have a rigid bracelet, so I'm just going to loop it and so test my button. Oh wow, that is so pretty. And let me also just test it on my wrist. I got perfect length. Perfect length. That is, sorry, my other bracelet is in the way, but that looks beautiful. This would be a great place for a charm, and I don't know, I'll play with that after I get it crimped. I'm jumping ahead because I'm excited. It looks great. So let me unclasp it and just make sure I don't have a rigid piece here. So I like to kind of move everything down. So this is where I really got my length perfect, and it's actually okay. I want my button to move freely so it's easy to put on and off. And I think that's going to be okay. Maybe loosen this side just a little bit. Just pull it a little bit. Okay, and I'm just going to repeat the same thing on this end. Just get my magical crimp in there. Pretty bracelet. Oh, I love it. That is beautiful. How pretty is that? Okay, let's decide what we're going to do for a little charm. I will save those out for earrings. I have one seashell left. I would have two of these. I have one of these, but I also have these little charms that are already made that have like a flower on them. And I could just attach those right there, or I could really add charms to this by putting that here and making a charm for this end, or vice versa, putting this here. I'm going to use some of these and making a charm for brass ball head pins. I got these at the Intergalactic Bead Show from a seller there who puts a coating on all of his metals so that they don't tarnish. And I am going to rewrap. I'm going to cut these away. I can actually, and I think I'm actually going to just wrap them. Simple loops, make everything match. I use my small one-step looper. In this way, everything will match. And so what I'll do is make all of my other dangles. I'll pause here and I'll come back when these are all made and we'll attach them. I absolutely love this bracelet. It is so beautiful and it fits me so well. The size is so perfect. So I made my dangles, my little things that I want to, my little charms. I also, while I was making all of those, I took the leftover beads and just did another pair of drops to put with my interchangeable ear wires. They're very simple, very, very simple, elegant. Look at that. Let me close it. Look at that. Aren't they beautiful? Just a little bit of swing there. I got 3 pairs of earrings out of this project, and that last pair was unintentional, but I love it. So I was thinking I wanted to add a seashell onto this bracelet, but I just couldn't find a sweet spot. So I made a little seashell component, and I'm thrilled because I've actually used up every single one of my little check glass O-rings. I've used every single one of these little tiny check glass drucks. And so I took another one of these little diamond cut gold filled jump rings, and instead of putting my jump ring through any of the other rings, I put it over that last simple loop. So no matter which way I put my bracelet on, my little charm will just dangle freely. So doing it that way, I don't know if you can see, but doing it that way, it can go all the way around 180 degrees. So that means, since it's a kind of a link bracelet, that no matter how I put it on or how it moves on my wrist, this little shell charm can just go around and around. And so I restrung those 3 little charms that I had already had done using the same little ball head pin that I used on everything else. And I tried it on and I just really like it here. And this will be the same concept where this jump ring is going to go over everything. Can you see? And then I'll thread on my little charms, and I had this was a bead mix, a little check glass bead mix, and so there was a green and there was like a beige or like a shell color, and then there's the blue, and so I just strung them on like that. And I'm going to close this, and it will be the same concept where this will be able to go 180 degrees. So no matter which way I clasp this or which way it turns on my wrist, why am I not closing that? There we go. I want it to be closed really, really well. So I'm sorry. So no matter which way, this can go 180 degrees around my little clasp, and I really love that because, you know, it just, movement is beautiful. So let me put this back on. I was kind of wearing it while I was making the components to see how it felt, and I just love it. It just turned out great. And I'm like, generally I like single strand bracelets. I'm not a huge fan of the multi-strand bracelets for some reason, but I love this one. I just love it. I think it is gorgeous. I got my sizing just perfect, and I love the little charms, and I love that I was able to like really use all the beads that were left over from all my bead boxes and things like that. So this is, for me, was a super successful little creative time. And I am just thrilled with all of my earrings, both of my bracelets. I'm absolutely just thrilled. I just love what I made, and I am like summer ready. If I get to go to a little beach weekend with friends, if I go visit my family in Venice Beach, I have another friend that has a house on Anna Maria Island, and we're planning a trip. So I feel like I have my little jewelry wardrobe all ready to go. So I will put some pictures up at the end of the video. I really appreciate you choosing my video today and watching. It would be really lovely if you subscribe to my channel and give it a thumbs up, the video that you watched. And I just really, it's a great way to support my work, and I really appreciate if you do that. And you know, if you have any creative friends, anyone that's interested in jewelry making, I try to do things that are really beginner friendly. I try to come up with designs that are elegant and wearable and fun to make. So share my channel. If you know anyone who might be interested in my content, that would be really great. It just really makes our little community grow. Thanks a lot for watching, everybody. I hope you're all safe and well and having fun on your beading mats. Ciao, jewelry making friends.